you.
Mr. Heck pulled me aside and was like,
Okay.
so you came to camera around today? And I was like,
No,
no.
so-
He's like,
Okay,
you need to
here we
take a
go.
picture of me and that.
Yeah, he goes, I'll give you my name.
Well,
We have to get in that yearbook.
Try and lose weight like 130.
Alright, real quick, I wanna go through a couple notes on mortgages. We didn't finish up that formula yesterday on a mortgage, and I wanna do that today to show you kind of like the seriousness of trying to buy a home. That's why a lot of people just don't go buy a home, because number one, it costs a lot of money, and when you see the math that's involved, it's kind of insane of like what they charge for it. And I want to just show you this so you can see this for the first time. All right, so first we were talking about rentals yesterday, right? Section we're in 4.1. What am I doing, please? 4.1, and we're talking about rentals. And what we were talking about yesterday was the difference between a rent, and we did that magical formula for defined rent. You know, like what you should do. Does anyone remember what the formula was for finding rent? Like what you should pay as a maximum?
You got
Divide by 4.
what
Divide
you
by
get
Per month.
paycheck and then you divide by 4.
Yep, your monthly pay, so monthly wage, and you divide by 4. It's just some weird random number that the banks kind of use as a default, as like, this is what you should spend maximum rent, because there's the 4 main categories in your life, right? You got your food, actual produce, you have your car, and then you have your health, which can be anything from water to heat to anything else. So those are like the 4 big ones, and your rent would be the 4th big one. Okay. Now. Okay. Perfect. Just put mine. Okay. The next part, we are talking about mortgages, and if you're going to choose to buy a home instead. So we're gonna look at a mortgage, and we're gonna try to purchase a home. Now, this is the formula we had on the board yesterday. So the amount you're paying, the principal, 1 plus R over N, which we never even got to yesterday. I think we started with R. I think that's where we did most of our explanations yesterday. And then NT, and I still gotta explain what those things are. All right, so how this works. This is the total amount you're gonna pay for your home. This is your total amount, okay? The principal is what you initially agree on to pay for the house itself. This is your agreement price. This is what they call the principal, or the initial price of the home. It's what you agreed in the actual contract when you bought your home. So there's that negotiation between your realtor and yourself and the party that has it, that you want to pay this price for that home. And again, all those prices are negotiable. It's all based on the market you live in, okay? Because I can tell you right now, houses here in Garner are significantly cheaper than houses in Clear Lake. Same size home, same style. Here's a weird concept. There's a house that recently, this made headline news because of like where it's at, Silicon Valley in California, where all the tech industries are growing and stuff like Apple and stuff. Silicon Valley just sold a home the other day that was 800 square feet. 800 square feet, that's not very big, but mind you. 800 square feet is like maybe this room and Miss Weisenstein's room, like put together. That's like 800 square feet for a footprint. That price, the house sold for $2.5 million
What?
in Silicon Valley.
What?
800 square foot home. Every house here in Garner is twice that. But they're not going for 2.5 because it's all based on location.
Square foot home to sell for that.
Yeah, around here, that's like the biggest mansion you've ever seen, right? Those are like monster homes. But that's Silicon Valley. That's the same with like New York. Apartments in New York are ridiculous per month. The smallest apartments in New York can be over 10 grand a month sometimes because they pay a different pay scale too. It's based on market, it's based on location, it's based on the state you live in because they can charge that. They know people are going to pay it. Okay? It's one of those things like it's so weird to me. It's so foreign when I heard that. I was like, that's insane. And we can see it right here in Ventura, Garner, Clear Lake area. There's a huge discrepancy in prices. Because I told you yesterday, I was renting a home in Clear Lake, a really small home. I came to Garner and I bought a house bought a house for the same price monthly payment that I was paying in rent, and the house is like 4 times the size of what I was renting. So I had, I went from like, I think it was like 400 or 500 square foot home, like we were just renting a small apartment, like really small apartment, to a home in Garner that was 1,300, 1,400 square foot home. And it was the same price per month. And it was a no-brainer. Now, why do you choose to do that, before I get to all these numbers and scare you away from it? Why do you choose to do that? Number one, I'm paying the same amount of money, so that was kind of a kicker. Number two, there was more space. I had garages, I had appliances. Number three, the other big thing was, I'll eventually get that money back if I buy the home, in theory, because I'll sell it for hopefully the same price I bought it for, or close, so I'm getting most of my money back. That's the kicker with rent, you never get your money back, no matter what. Like you're basically just, that money's going away and it's never coming back to you. It's like the same thing with like buying a car. You buy a car, you know it's gonna depreciate in value. You're never gonna get that money you just paid for that car back, unless it's a classic, or it's like some special model of a car that somehow gained popularity. Like I know like one of the cars in this area that's really big right now is a Pontiac GXPs or something like that, where they have a certain motor in the inside of the car that makes it worth value, right? You're not gonna get the money you paid into a car. Here's one of the things I saw the other day. It was at Pritchard's lot. Pritchard's has a truck right now. The truck is a 2010, it's a diesel. On the sticker on the door, it's a 2010, it has 80,000 miles on it. Sticker, 22,000.
Harsh truck, V10.
Yeah, it's a nice truck, don't get me wrong. Super nice truck. 22,000. That truck is worth 11 if you look at NADA. They're doubling the price, because I know somebody's gonna buy it. I wouldn't. But somebody's trying to make a ton of money on that truck. The truck, and they have right next to that sticker, they have what it was MSRP was. It was $40,000 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Technically 9 if it came out in 2009. But like that to me is insane. Like no one can make that type of profit on a truck like that. It's the same with housing. Housing can go up and down per year. Like right now, I'm not joking, right now is the time to sell a home. You can sell any home for any price right now in Gardner. Like there's insane homes going over on the east side of town that they're selling for crazy amounts of money right now. It almost makes me wonder if I should sell my home just to make money off of it. Because the housing market on a home that's about 1,300 square foot, I could sell it for $150 or over. I didn't even pay nearly any of that when I bought that home. I paid probably about half of that when I bought it. So the homes are going for an insane amount of money right now because it's a seller's market. Everyone needs a home. The businesses that are coming in are bringing in kids and families, and they want to move. They don't want to rent anymore. Rent's out of control. So it's one of those things. Now, I'm about to show you these numbers, and I don't want to scare you off, because these can be kind of scary numbers when you first see them, like what they're charging. This is a normal thing. You are borrowing money from a bank to buy a home. Okay, so the bank is going to charge you extra. And the difference between a small loan for a car and a loan for a house is radically different. And I want to show you the difference in prices. It won't look that much, but it makes a big difference. Okay, so here's the idea. Yes, we talked about the total that you're going to pay for the house in the long run. The amount that you're borrowing per month. Okay, the R is the rate that the bank charges you. This is interest rate. And we talked about that yesterday. I spent too much time probably yesterday talking about how interest rate changes on your select number that the bank gives you, which is your credit score. Okay, we talked about that probably too long yesterday. But that rate can change. Okay, my rate when we bought our house was really good. I think we bought our house at, I think it was like 6%, I think, which is pretty good, I thought, at the time. My parents paid 15% back in the 70s when they bought their home. 15% over of what their house was. Okay? Now the ends, this is the part we didn't get to yesterday. These ends right here is how many times they compound your price per month. So what this is called a compound. On a mortgage, student loan, on medical bills, or credit cards I should say, It's called a compound. It's how many times they multiply your bill on you per year. So, it's a fee, the end tells you how many times they're gonna charge you that fee. It's not one set fee, like, oh, you're just gonna pay 7% over. You're getting 7% multiple times a year, depending on when you pay it off. Now, why they're dividing is they're dividing up that compound by how many months you have. So usually, it's 12 months a year. That's the usual mortgage. They compound, they charge you an extra fee 12 times a year for if you didn't pay it off yet. It's to encourage you to pay it off quicker. That's what they're doing. The time. This is time. This is in years. This is a time that you're paying it off. Now, I told you earlier when I took a mortgage out for a home, it was a 30-year loan. That's pretty normal. Most banks encourage you to go 20 or 25, but that drives up your price, what you have to pay, because you have to pay it quicker, so you have to pay more to pay off that house faster. We didn't want to do that. And second of all, so there's some, like the bigger the home, sometimes if you have really good credit, they'll go out further, like 50 years. I've never heard of anyone in this area that can do that unless you're like a millionaire. If you're gonna borrow that type of money, that's just to make sure that the payments are within reason. I would say like that type of thing where they're going out 50 years, that's being more practical for somebody like in California and like Silicon Valley where I can't pay off a $2 million home in 30 years because the price would be like 10 grand a month. I'm gonna have to pay maybe over 50 years and now I can cut that number in half. That type of thing. Okay, which is still insane to me, by the way. All right, now, let's actually plug numbers in and see what this does, and we're gonna compare it to if you're to take out this loan as a simple loan, like if you're gonna borrow it like a cost of a car. So let's say you're gonna buy a $70,000 home. That's pretty close to what most of the marketing is in Garner. There's a lot more expensive homes, don't get me wrong, but I think the market for a while was about 70 grand around here. These are the houses that were selling really quickly in Garner, 70 grand homes. They sold really, really fast. They went, like there was no homes for about 2-year process for sale in Garner. Now they're selling for like crazy amounts of money. Same home, selling for like 150 now. So you're making tons of money off your homes. Okay, 70 grand. So I'm gonna borrow that, that's my principal amount. Now the rate, let's say the interest rate, you have really good credit. Let's say you get your home for a 4% interest. 4% interest, 0.04, that's your rate. Not 4%, 0.04, that's what 4% is written as a decimal. We're gonna compound it 12 times. Your bank is gonna charge you 12 times a month, 12 times a year for the interest. 12 times goes in this little corner, and the time, we're going a 30-year loan. We're going for 30 years total. There's all my numbers plugged in. This is the number that the bank uses. They try to make it sound all fancy, and they try to scare you with big terminology and paperwork. This is the thing they put in the background that's on the computer that's behind them. That's literally the formula that they type in. Now, to type this in, I have to like do numbers in an order. So, I'm gonna take the 0.04 first, divide that by 12, so I'm dividing these. So I'm getting, on a calculator, I'm getting this, 0.00333333. That's 0.04 divided by 12. 12 times 30 is 360. That's how many times they're going to charge you this interest. They're going to charge you 360 times over a 30-year time, over a 30-year process. That's 360 charges of interest. That's the same with a credit card. We'll do that too. They charge you 360 times over a 30-year process if you never paid it off. 12 times a year. They charge you every month. Credit cards are scary, by the way. I'll explain that later. So 360, and then I have the 70,000 out front. Now, to do the numbers here, I need to figure out what those add together. Well, that's 1.003333, or if I add those two numbers in the parentheses, and then I have to put it to the 360th power. Now, if you've never done that before on a calculator, 1.003333. This keeps going across the screen. To put this to the 360th power, you type in 1.00333. So type that in. You have to find this little arrow key on a calculator, or maybe it's an X to the Y key or X to like a little box key. And you're gonna hit that, and that'll put the next number in the power. So it might just show a little up arrow, the chevron, and then you type in 360. And then once you type that in, then I can take it times 70,000. So 70,000 is the last thing I'm gonna type. So I'm gonna type in that 1.003 to the 360th power. So I'm gonna hit the little caret key, put it to the 360th, and this is what I get. 3.313498, and it keeps going across the screen, 015. Okay. Anyone know what that number is right now? Like what that 3.313 is? That's your multiplier. What you just found by doing all that fancy stuff in the background is now it's calculating what your total interest is and how many times your price will either double or triple. We're tripling in price over a 30-year process. We're going 3.13. You have to take that times 70,000. So that $70,000 home that you bought here in Garner, and you're paying your interest, like you're signing up your contract for the compound interest for your mortgage, and you don't know this. Like in the background, this is the number they're telling you behind the scene. They're not telling you that final number. They're just saying, hey, you're going to pay 4%. You're going to have to pay once a month. It's a $70,000 home. Do you agree that that's the price we agreed on? Yes. And you sign your name. And they go, okay, we'll tell you what your monthly payment is here in a second. They're going to have the calculator in the background is doing all its work. And this is what you're paying for that $70,000 home. I'm not joking you. If you were to pay it all 30 years of your life and never move out, you just paid the bank, no joke, $231,000 for your $70,000 home. If you never paid it faster than in that 12-month period, or that 30-year period. You're thinking like, boy, that's insane. Yeah, it is insane. Just think about this. That's also the exact same thing that you do for a student loan. That's the exact formula they use for a student loan. In fact, my student loan out of Iowa State over 4.5 years at Iowa State was about 70 grand worth of student loan. It was like 64 or something like that. It was really close. Over a 20-year process, I'm paying not 64 grand back, I'm paying 155 grand back over a 30-year or over a 20-year process. My student loans are finally done in like a couple of years, 2 years I think. But look at that number. That is insane what you're paying the bank back. And then what they do is they don't tell you that number, by the way. They say, okay, here's your monthly payment. You're paying 70 grand for that home. It's a 4% interest over 30-year loan. Are you sure you don't want to go 20? You should probably go 20, I'm just saying. But once they have this, they don't tell you this number, what you're about to crap yourself, and you see that paperwork. And what they do is they divide that number by 30 years, by the 12 months. So they're taking that number, divide by 30, over 30 years, you're gonna pay 7 grand a year. Divided by 12 months, you're paying $644. $644.29 a month. This is what you're paying per month. Now, most people are like, oh, that's not that bad. Probably not for a house, 1,200 square foot home, 1,300 square foot home. That might be rent in Clear Lake, not joking, that's probably the average rent in Clear Lake, it's probably lower. Some of the rent in Clear Lake's like $800, some ask for $1,000, that's stupid. So you're like, oh, I own the home. Yeah, but over the long run, you're paying them $231,000 for that home. You're not gonna get that money back again, because you're gonna probably sell the home for 70. But you don't see that. You don't see that in the background, all that stuff you're paying. All you see is that I'm paying off my house. I bought my house for 70 grand. No, you bought your house for 231 grand, because you didn't want to pay it off early. If you had cash, it would have been 70 grand, but you didn't have cash. Now, this is radically different if you were to take out a student, or take out a small loan, a simple interest loan. They don't allow you to take out simple interest loans to buy homes. Simple interest loan is a loan that you take out for a car over like a 6-year period. That interest is very, very different, okay? Compound interest is radically different. In fact, let's talk about that. Let me start this up the camera. This will be my last thing today. So, that's compound interest. That's how mortgage works. That's how credit cards work. No joke. And credit cards, by the way, it's not 4% for a credit card, it's 24% for a credit card. Stay away from credit cards unless you can pay it off at the end of every month. Because if you can pay it off before the end of the month, you don't get charged anything. But if you don't, that's when they start charging you all this percentages. It's way higher. It's not 4%, it's 24%. And it's that formula still on a credit card. All right, now a simple interest loan. This is a simple interest loan. It's the easiest thing in the world. This is if you're gonna go buy a car, go buy a computer, go buy an appliance. You're gonna go take out a small loan from a bank. Some banks even did microloans for a while when there was the recession back in 2008, where banks would actually loan out what they call microloans to families for like $300, $400, $500 so they can go buy groceries. Because they just had to get food so they could survive the month, so they would take out small loans and pay it back over a year. So they did that for a while. That's when we were in like a tough recession back in 2008 when no one was making any money and people were getting laid off all the time. So, principal amount. Got a question?
No, I was gonna ask.
Okay.
I did, but I can't remember.
Okay. All right. So let's say we're taking out a loan. That same loan. Let's say you're going to go buy your Cadillac Escalade for 70 grand. Your rate for the car, they have different interest rates, but let's say somehow you have good credit. It's a 4% interest for you. You have good credit, so 4%. And let's say you're going to go over a 6-year. That's different. You can't go 30 years on cars. The most you can go is 6. Well, this number is radically different. If I was to use this formula, it'd be a very, very different number. In fact, let's plug in 30. Most car companies won't go 30 years. Let's say we do go 30 years for this car loan. I know there's one company in California that they'll give you a loan for 12 years on supercars. So you can actually afford them. Okay, same formula. I'm putting 30 years on a simple interest. Your total that you pay over 30 years at this price is 84 grand. Bless you. If you did a simple interest loan for that same home, but instead of buying a Cadillac, you went and bought a home, it would only cost you 84 grand over 30 years on a simple interest. You see the difference in numbers? Now, the reason why there's a huge difference, banks will not allow you to go 30 years on a simple interest loan. Why? Because they want to make money off of you. They don't. They won't allow you. The most you can go on a car loan is 6 years now. That's the most. Unless you go to that one car company in California that gives you a 12-year loan for a supercar. Question?
Could you lie, say you're buying a
No,
car?
because they see when that check comes in, when it went for.
Oh.
And they check, yeah. It's committing fraud, you can't do it. So, but the reason why is because over a 30-year loan, you're borrowing money from people's accounts for 30 years. That's why they're charging you a lot of money, because they have to pay a lot of people back because you just borrowed a lot of money for a long period of time. And they have to guarantee that those people are getting their money back. And the bank has to pay them a little bit of money. That's why when you put money in a savings account, it actually grows without you doing anything. The more money in your savings account, the faster that money grows. There was a gentleman in Ventura, Clear Lake area that was very wealthy. He had a very, very big bank account, and he would just live off the interest that his savings account was making him. Because he had a couple $100 million in that savings account, so it was making him $100 grand a month off of interest. So he could just spend that all he wanted. And he never cut into that bank. And if he could spend all that interest before the end of the year, it was tax-free. So he never got taxed for it. So it was very clever. Yeah, he knows how to work the system, and it was brilliant the way he did it. And he was a very, very generous person when you're around him. It was like you needed something, he was going to buy it for you because he had to spend his money.
Well, yeah, right now. Yeah, you guys
So-
spent $1 million bucks. Is that man still alive?
No, he just recently passed away. So, yeah, I was a gentleman that worked for him in Ventura. So, all right. Questions at all about compound? We're going to do more of this tomorrow, where we actually try a couple numbers. I give you some numbers, you try it out. Calculators and books tomorrow. We might be using your Chromebook tomorrow to go look up a home, and we're going to try. So, in fact, I do want you to bring your Chromebook tomorrow, and I'm going to give you a website that we're going to go to tomorrow that we're going to look up prices on homes. You can actually see realistic prices.
Yeah, you should see it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to scare you away from buying a home. I'm just trying to give you the real math behind it.
Oh,
Yeah, Ward.
Yeah.
I want it back.
Me and Eric won't
Do not
be in your
use it.
class tomorrow. Get the grill.
I know,
No promise.
so,
Well,
Okay.
and
It's not right now, so thank you for helping out with that.
You want us to do anything?
Just, watch the video, because that's all we're doing, we're just gonna look up home prices, plug them into the form, so you can see what monthly payments are gonna be and stuff, and see what rentals are.
It's like here and then here.
I almost got this tape off.
I'm not sure where the expensive.
Well, I'm just not eating fish for it.
I don't think I can fix it.
Is that the same fish you have?
Yeah, he doesn't look great, because over the summer I left him in like really scummy water, but it is still the same fish from last year. So, he's at least survived a year now, more than a year, so,
I have goldfish.
I'm proud of that bunch.
yeah.
I had a goldfish and my cat ate it.
And,
It knocked it off my dresser. It was sad.
yeah, our kids.
But it was okay because it wasn't technically my fish. And I was tired of looking at it. It was from the pan or the puddle egg thing. I was tired of looking at it.
Yes.
Like that one.
So, you got about 5 more minutes, you can relax.
So,
You got about 5 more minutes. So you can go, you got 5 minutes.
how many posted now for all this thing?
No matter how much fun I have, you
I don't think it's all that. Should I just go to sleep?
it's not on top of them, that's what I
Let's go to your room, stay home, and they'll tell you. What was that?
Can I get a new
It's annoying.
I have received about like paper that I needed. I didn't figure out how to
I didn't yell at you.
your sister hers,
My sister
Shawty
already
hers,
happened.
Desiree gown, and then Gabby
yelled at
I don't know how to do it. Gabby.
It's probably passwords.
Give it to
Oh, yeah, the thing I heard.
He's right there.
Oh God.
Gabby Shimani.
Yeah.
Will you give this to her?
Yeah.
And can you have her give it back to you by next Friday?
Friday?
I
I might take a
thought
couple
he was a
towels
little
out.
experience. That's awkward.
Yeah, I'm like right
I have
here.
almost every costume.